welcome to the Mitzvah Torah. This year is entitled in honor of Este Andrew Mermelstein and Andrew Mermelstein. Question: when do the 7 days of festivities, the Shiva Yemei Mishta, begin and end for Chatan and Kala? So we mentioned in the previous year two major questions. Every chuppah and Nesuin, this applies to the question: when does it begin and when's the last day of the festivities? Meaning, when's the status of Chatan and Kala? When does it end? When can we have Sheva Brachot? Until what point? And this is a question everyone has to answer. In the Levitan Mermelstein case, it's very pronounced because they were married right before sunset on Tuesday in Yerushalayim. The chuppah finished right then. Yichud room was after sunset, and then the meal began later at night. Certainly, the main participants began more at night. So what kicks off the 7 days of festivities? The chuppah, the yichud room, the actual meal. And then that will affect when do we go until. Do we go 7 days beginning with the chuppah, which might be in the day, Tuesday? Or do we go by the yichud room, which could be ben hashmashon? Or do we go by the first meal, which could be nighttime? That would be Tuesday evening. And then once you have the meal, and you determine what about the last day? You squeeze a meal in right before sunset on the last day, after you determine what the last day is. So the meal's on the last day, but the benching's already after the 7 days. So it turns out the following. There is a machloket in the poskim. In the Shulchan Aruch, the Ramah does bring down different opinions in Even Ezer. Nunhei does bring down different opinions. The Ramah himself says it goes by the chuppah, it goes by the chuppah itself. And then the Pitchei Tshuva there says that some say it doesn't go by the chuppah, it goes by the seuda, by the meal. So there's different poskim on this, whether the chuppah kicks off the 7 days or the meal. There's a certain svara to the meal, meaning that that's when the festivities begin in terms of the seuda. But the other side, the Ramah, you can hear as well, where the simcha of the Nesuin is already by the chuppah, even though the seuda begins later. So fine. You have different opinions. It's a safek brachot. There's no clear psak one way or another, so therefore safek brachot, and the chuppah kicks off the 7 days of festivities. So back to the Levitan case, we paskin that they had the chuppah by Shkia on Tuesday. Yom Shlishi is the first day. Yichud a little bit later, meal a little bit later, doesn't matter. We go by the chuppah, and that's it. So the first day, we didn't have any partying, any seuda. The first day counts anyway. For those few precious, beautiful moments of the chuppah, that's the first day. Fine. So now we go Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Monday's the last day of the 5 towns. What happens? So fine, they get the meal in. Now you say that's enough. Because where else do we have such a phenomena? In Orach Chaim Kuf Pechem we have it. Because what do we say over there? We say that if a person has a Shabbat meal, and it goes into the night. So the night time when he benches, his Shabbat's over. It's only for the Torah standpoint it's over. But he still says Ritzei. So too Yosh Chodesh. He has a meal on Rosh Chodesh, he finishes after. We say it goes by the time he had the meal, even if he's benching later. So too by Nisan for Hanukkah, Nisan for Purim. So maybe we're adding the 5th. We have Shabbat, Rosh Chodesh, Hanukkah, Purim. That when you have the meal in the day, even if you bench at night, you go by the meal. So let's have a 5th case. If you have the Sheva Brachot meal in the day and you bench at night, over there on the spot, in just a few precious lines of Kufechet, the Shari Tshuva mentions, he quotes a Knam for Radim, that no, not true. You have to bench within the 7 days of festivities by Shkia in order for you to say the Sheva Brachos. Shevet Levi says, why? Why would you differentiate between those 4 cases and this one? He says, no. Because those brachos could only be said in the state of simcha and the zman of simcha. I don't care that halakha the meal was a meal of suda of simcha. I don't care. The Sheva Brachos should be recited at the time of simcha, as opposed to the 4 other cases, those Ritzei Yalav Anisim is on a meal, which is a Shabbos, Rosh Chodesh, or Hanukkah for a meal. As opposed to Yemei Mishta, the 7 brachos must be said during this month of Simcha, and that's it. So therefore, it turns out in the Levitan case, you put all this together. The Levitan Mermelstein case, what you have is Tuesday's the first day, Monday's the last day, and the meal and the Sheva Brachos should be done by Shkia. If it's a little bit late and it goes into Ben Hashmasha, Rav Moshe is Meikil, a little bit into Ben Hashmasha, so he even says up to 40 minutes, some say a little bit less. In that case, already someone would have to talk to a posek to talk about the details. But if it's before Shkia, that's the simplest case that could get all the Shem Brachos in by that time. We should continue to have Simchas and they should build a Bayit Ne'eman B'Yisrael.